Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for week 18 Thursday for Algebra 2 semester 2. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions for your warm-up. All right, so today we are on the 19th and you guys are pretty much done with this. This is week 18. We're gonna start your study guides today. I'm gonna give you guys a brand new packet with the study guides. I'm gonna do that for all of this week, all of next week, and then week 19 Friday is when your warm-up log is going to be due. It's going to be worth 300 points. If you're like, well, take a look at your warm-up log. How many empty boxes do you guys have there? If some of the boxes you have, let's say, is like week 16 Tuesday, go to the QR code for the YouTube channel, pause the video in the very beginning, and then just fill it out. I mean, it's really simple for the most part. After that is week 20. That Monday is the kickoff for summer. It's Memorial Day weekend. And then your final starts next Friday. You start it with periods 1 and 2. And then I will see you guys that following Monday, which is week 21 Monday. It is going to be 3rd period at 7:45 to 9:45 in the morning in this class that Monday. You'll take your test, my job, and I hope that I can just scan it, get it done with, and before you guys leave, I'll let you know what you passed the class, and if so, what grade, or if you need to take the class again. So that is kind of my hope. I hope that everybody here passes. Just keep in mind your final is gonna be 15% of your grade. Your safety grade is 75%, because with 75 minus 15, it'll give you a 60% in case you fail it. Okay, so today we're gonna start your study guides. June 2nd, Thursday, 2:25 p.m. is going to be the last day for you to turn anything in when it comes to Math Excel, practicing with the Wednesdays, Math Excel homework, any of the hard copies with your guided notes, etc. That is the very last day. So that is going to be next Thursday for the last day to turn anything in. I'm sorry, next Thursday. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get started with today's stuff. So if you take a look at the YouTube channel, I'm just gonna briefly jump over there. You guys have exactly 84 videos, and yesterday was a Wednesday, so it's already there. So let's say, for example, you were not here on this Monday for week 18. You just simply click on week 18. And boom, there's your warm-up. And you just basically fill in 3 boxes. That's all that you have to do with your warm-up log. You know, that's due next Friday. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and move on to today's stuff. All right, so if you were not here last class was on a Wednesday. What did we do? Yesterday, we went over your week 18 Wednesday properties of logs. It's your last assessment on Math Excel. So up to this point, you guys should have 18 different assignments because it is from week 1 to week 18. You should have your homework. That's the first one. You should have 18 of your quizzes, which is your assessment. Now, not every week do we have a quiz. Most of the week we did. There were occasionally 1 or 2 weeks where I had you guys do like a Quizlet instead, in which case that's fine as well. And then I went ahead and had you guys do the Padlet yesterday with, are you currently satisfied with your current grade? And then we did that. And so I'll be reading your responses. And so today is week 18 Thursday. We are done with our guided notes. We're pretty much done with that section. You guys can hold on to that guided notes to kind of use it as a study material. And so we're gonna start with your study guide today on Algebra 2 semester 2 day 1. It's your first day of your study guide. It's gonna be your grade for week 18 and week 19. So your conducts on this will determine your grade for those 2 weeks. You don't have any more Math Excel, so that's done. So from now on, week 18, 19, and 20, you'll simply, I'm sorry, week 19, 20, you'll simply just have your study guide to account for that. So I need to actually go back here and modify that. Let's see. All right, so week 19, week 20, you will have your study guide to your grade in Infinite Campus. No more Math Excel. Okay, all right. And then after that, we will move on to the next part. So first I want you guys to do is grab a TI-84 and then also a sticky note and then a Sharpie. So grab those 3 items, please. So come on up and do that. Sharpie. Keep in mind that majority of your tests with your instructional material requires you to know how to use your TI-84 calculator on the final. So you need to know where the buttons are, especially if you are planning on trying to pass it. So I want you guys to grab 2 different sticky notes, okay? The first sticky note of what I want you guys to do is you're gonna log on to Infinite Campus. And for those of you guys who are like, I don't know what my password to Infinite Campus is, just come on up after I'm done explaining and I'll help you reset it. Or I can tell you which week you need to focus on. Once you're on Infinite Campus, you guys actually have week 1 to 17 grades in there. So you have 17 different grades. You want to look for the lowest 5 weeks. So your grades can either be a 5, a 5.5, or a 6. So if you have anything that's within that range, that's your lowest week. A 5 just means I just didn't see you at all. You are not even here at all that week. A 5.5 means that you showed up, but you didn't do anything and you didn't turn anything in because you were on your phone or maybe you were taking a nap. I don't know. A 6 means that you showed up, you turned it in, but you finished less than 50% of the required material. So if it's less than 50% and the other 50% is blank, then it's like 60% completion. You know what I mean? So those are the 3 grades that you want to look for. And those are the weeks you want to write down. So make sure you pick 5 weeks that you have the lowest at. Now, if you are like, I don't know how to get an Infinite Campus, just come on up, you guys, and I'll look it up for you. Okay, so take about 4 minutes and go ahead and complete that. So for those of you guys on Zoom, pause the video and find your 5 lowest weeks on Infinite Campus. Okay, so if you're done with your 5 lowest one, I want you guys to grab a second sticky note. On your second sticky note, you're gonna ask yourself, okay, what am I gonna do this weekend to ensure that I get things done? Like some of the things that you could be doing, for example, is watch the YouTube channel for the weeks that you have the lowest grade in, jot it down on a separate piece of paper, and then just turn it in and I'll just change your grade. That's what we're gonna do. Because if you can do that, I'll just say, you know what, you mastered your skill, we're gonna modify it. Fill out your guided notes that you guys had for this class. Take a look at your assessments on Math Excel. And lastly, I would say, make sure you update your warm-up log. Those are the suggestions I have for you. So on your second sticky note, make sure you write down the things that you need to do to raise your grade before the final. So take about another 3 more minutes to get that done. All right, so next I'm going to talk about is your checklist for this weekend because we're kind of getting to the end of this, you guys. And so I would highly suggest that some of the things that you should think about and consider working on are the following. I would say that the first thing you want to do is make sure your warm-up is up to date. Improve the weeks that you need to work on your Math Excel for the practice, homework, and your Wednesday assessments. Make sure you guys take a look to see anything that has an M for missing on Infinite Campus, because that's basically telling you that I don't have anything for you when it comes to that. So it is considered to be a 5. So those are the things I would recommend. Lastly, I think that's about it. Warm-up blog, weeks you need to improve on, Math Excel Wednesdays, and homework. Missing on Infinite Campus. Oh, your guided notes for Algebra 2, and any of the extra hard copies for this class. So those are your breakdown. To help you find out what that, I have all of the things that you need that on hard copies. So if you're like, where do I get the guided notes? If I haven't wrapped them up, maybe I lost them or whatever, I just look for you guys for this class. This is going to be the table that's reserved for it. I'm going to go right here for you guys. You can go through it whenever you want. And then all of your hard copies are right here. So if you're interested, you can practice that. Watch the videos and then turn it. I mean, like really, this is like 2 weeks before we're out, you guys. I mean, if you want to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, then you're not going to do it. I mean, it's your grade. I just simply just put your grade in the grade book and that's it. All right, so next one I want you guys to do is go to the guided note submission. So either type in the link or use your QR code. Not yet, hold on a second, 1 minute. Let's see what's happening here. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Something is not working here. Let's see. Oh, okay, perfect. So now that's working. Okay, so you guys can go to the QR code right there. And for those of you guys on Zoom, once you guys get on there, it just says guided note submission for Dr. C's math class. This is your last guided note. We're done with the unit of logs. And just give me your name and the period. You guys are period 3. What topics were discussed during this unit? Hopefully you guys remember it's logs and LN. Okay, what did you learn? Did you like this unit and did you find it helpful? Did you fill out the majority of the guided notes for this packet? Assign yourself a grade A to F. You should have the packet in front of you. You know how many of it you actually completed. And then looking at the activities and hard copies and using your TI 84 calculators. Did you complete the work during this unit, assigning yourself a grade A to F? And one more, if you were absent for class, did you watch the YouTube channel videos to get caught up? Justify your response. Okay, and when you're done with that, overall, give yourself a grade A to F on your attendance, effort, completion for this unit, A all the way down to the bottom. And then that's it. So that is what you're going to be working on right now for the next 2 minutes. It's your last unit. We're done with this packet, and I'm going to give you guys, you don't have to turn this in. You can actually hold on to that. And also, if you would like, you can take all of your packets out for Algebra 2. You can just take the folder with you because we're going to be using this for the final. You can't use it on the final, but I want you guys to take it. So if you turn yourself in, come up over here, grab your folder. And you can use that material to study for the final. And then when you're done with that, make sure you grab a copy of your study guide right here. And then we'll get started with the study guide right now. So now that you guys have your study guide, Algebra 2, Semester 2, I want you guys to go ahead and look inside the content. How many questions are there? Is there an answer column? If so, where is it? and then go ahead and circle the questions you don't know. Okay, so just take a moment and go through the packet on your own. Are there? How many questions do you guys have in the packet for the study guide? Somebody just give me a number. 60? Okay, so then this is gonna be my progression for this, because I'm gonna have to create it. So today is week 18, Thursday. We'll finish 1 to 10, then Friday 11 to 20, Monday 19 to 21 to 30. Then Tuesday of next week, we'll do 31 to 40. And then Wednesday, we will do 41 to 55, because Wednesday's a short, well, actually, I'm gonna probably finish 50. And then next Thursday, we'll do 51 to 60, and then you will be done with your study guide. And then after that, we will go ahead and continue studying for it. Week 19 will be a Friday. We'll try to catch up whatever we need to catch up on. Week 20 Monday is a day off. It's Memorial Day. And then week 20 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then after that, your finals starts on week 20 Friday. Finals period 1, 2. And then week 20, or I'm sorry, 21, not yet 20. Yeah. 21 Monday, you guys will do your final period 3, 4. So this class, obviously. And then week 21 Tuesday, you guys will have your final for period 5, 6. And then that's your last day. And after that, we're done pretty much. So this is kind of like the progression of what we're going to be looking at. If you're like, well, what are we going to go ahead and do for week 20? Well, we will continue on with your study guide and answer any additional questions that you guys may have on it. But that's kind of what my plan looks like, you guys. I hope that works for you. But yeah, that's basically it. We're kind of like to the end of the semester, and that's it. Make sure you guys grab the folder with your name on it. If you have any other content, you can probably grab that and use it to study for. Use those content to prepare for the final. Grab a copy of the study guide. You're going to turn in the study guide for your grade for week 19 and 20. So no more Math Excel from now on. But you can still redo your Math Excel if you still need to do it up to June 2nd, okay? All right, so let's get started. So this is what it kind of looks like. This is your study guide, and it looks very similar to your actual final. You guys will have the student work area on your final as well. Then they'll give you a formula sheet. These are the questions for this class. Your questions for this class on the final will be several different formats, okay? So this is important to know. Multiple choice, you guys know what that means. Multiple choice is just A, B, C, D. After that, on the test, you'll have multiple select, which means you might have 2 or more right answers. So if the answer is A, B, D, you have to select A, B, D, or else it will be wrong. Next one is fill in the blank, and the fill in the blank question is like question number 1, where you need to write down the numbers right there and then basically color in the little bubbles. Okay, so those are the 3 different types of questions that you will have on the actual test. The type of questions will be very similar to the type of questions that you guys have for the 60 questions. And then you have the answers right here broken down based on topic. So that's why I asked you guys to grab your packet. So you're like, ooh, I did really, really bad on topic 5, which is on rational exponents and radical functions. Then you need to go look in your packet and review those things that we did in class a little bit more closely. Okay, so that's kind of how you should be studying for this. The 60 questions, we'll get it done, you guys. All right, let's get started with the first one. You guys ready? We might not be able to finish all 10, but that's okay. We'll do as best as we can. So what is a remainder of this? Keyword is remainder. They're not asking you for the answer. They just want the remainder. And this is a question that's fill in the blank. So you cannot guess, unfortunately. So we're going to start off with number 1. So let's divide this. You put negative 4x cubed. And as I'm showing you guys this, you might want to do that as well. I'll have this video published on the YouTube channel. So if I'm going a little bit too fast, you'll still be able to revert back to it later on. But here's the thing, you have a plus 80x and then a minus 150, but then guess what? You're missing a few things. You're missing an x squared, so you can't just not have it there. You have to write it in. Plus 0x squared. You got to make sure that's in there or else it doesn't work. Then on the outside, your divisor is going to be x minus 5, so x minus 5. If you're like, I have not done this question in so long, I don't remember how to do it. That's why you go back over here and go, oh, question 1 was on topic 3. I need to go back to my packet when I covered it in topic 3 and review the packet. That's how you study for this. Okay. And that's why I had you guys turn it in and me holding on to it so that way you can use it for things like this. And if you're like, I don't have my packet anymore, guess what? I have extras right over there. Just find the packets over there and then watch the videos on the YouTube channel. All right, so x times y gives me a negative 4x cubed. Negative 4x squared, okay? So then when you have that, you have to distribute this into that parenthesis. And when you distribute it, you get a negative 4x cubed, negative 5 times negative 4, positive 20x squared. And then remember when you subtract it, you have to distribute that negative. So this becomes a positive, that becomes a negative. And then you can cancel out that first term, which you want to do, or else you can't move on. Then 0 minus 20x squared is just a negative 20x squared. Bring down the next number, which is 80x. And we repeat the process all over again. So then you got to ask yourself, okay, x times y gives me a negative 20x. I want to do a negative 20x because that way it will give me a negative 20x squared minus 20x squared. Negative 5 times negative 20 is a positive 100x. And then you're going to subtract it. So remember your sign becomes a positive, negative because it becomes opposite. And then guess what? You can cancel that next term. And then bring down 80 minus 100 is a negative 20x. Bring down that negative 150. Yeah, we're definitely not going to finish 10 questions today. I forgot like how much harder Algebra 2 is in comparison to Algebra 1. I've been doing this with my Algebra 1 kids as well, as we finished like 15 questions today. But then I was like, well, this is a lot harder. So we probably only finished 5. We'll see. Then x times y gives me a negative 20x. It's going to be a minus 20. Distribute it. You get a negative 20x. Negative 5 times negative 20 is a positive 100. You're going to subtract that. Remember, change your sign. Positive, negative. Cancel that part right there. And then you have negative 150 minus 100, which gives you negative 250. That is your remainder. So the question right here where it says, what is your remainder? They're not asking you for the answer. Your answer actually is going to be right here, which is the quotient, but they're not asking you for that. They're asking you for the remainder. And your remainder is negative. So you put a negative there, 250. And then if you have to like highlight it, you would do a negative highlight, then a 2 and a 5 and a 0. So it'll be over here. And that's how you would do this question. Does that make sense, you guys? So it's like a strategy. You have to know how to answer it. If you're simply on your cell phone, you're not paying attention to this, you're going to have one hell of a time on your final. And if you don't have that safety grade of 75%, I cannot guarantee you that you'll pass this class afterwards. And a lot of you guys are kind of like on the cusp of passing or failing. And so a lot of you guys have like a 60-ish percentage. So either you raise it up to a 75% before the final, or you study like crazy to make sure you do really, really well in the final. But the final is not easy, you guys. It's a very hard test. But this study guide will give you a pretty good idea as to what questions will be on there. Question number 2, use synthetic or long division to divide this. Okay, so I just showed you guys how to do long division, so maybe we'll try synthetic division for this one. So for synthetic division, remember you just put in the coefficients. Coefficients here is 2, -33, 16. And then on the outside of this, you put in the divisor, but the divisor has to be the opposite. It can't be a -16, it's gonna be a +16. Don't ask me why, it just is. And I get it, you haven't done this in a while, I haven't done this in a while, so if I make a mistake, we'll go back to long division, okay? So you're gonna bring down your 2, you're gonna do 16 times 2 is 32. And you don't subtract it. This is different. You just simply add them and you get a -1. Okay, so there's no subtracting with synthetic. You just add. Then you multiply again, because the first thing you did 16 times 2. Now you do 16 times -1. 16 times -1 is a -16. And again, you don't subtract, you just add them, so you don't change the signs. And this gives you 0. So you're like, all right, so then what is my answer? Your answer is going to be the 2 numbers that you have right over here. So the 2 numbers you have here are 2 and -1. And this is a little weird because you started with x squared. Do you see the x squared? It's always going to be 1 less, like 1 power less. So you just put 2x minus 1. That is your answer, which is going to be B as in boy. And I'm so glad that that's the correct answer because I haven't done synthetic division so long that I really just kind of forgot how to do it. So I'm glad it worked. All right, so for number 3, it says, given that x minus 9 is a factor to this, what is the other factor? So what it's asking you to do is to essentially divide, okay? So you could do synthetic division, or you can go ahead and do long division. Since we did synthetic division, let's try long division for this one. So you have 16x cubed minus 144x squared minus 81x plus 729. Make sure none of the powers are missing, like question number 1. In this case, it's not. X minus 9 is your divisor that goes on the outside. And you got to ask yourself, okay, x times y gives me a 16x cubed because my goal is to cancel that number, okay? And it's going to have to be 16x squared. You distribute that number in, you get 16x cubed minus 16 times 9 is 144x squared. So now you subtract it and you change the signs. So when you do that, cancel that part. What is 144 plus 144x squared? That will give you a 0x squared. And you bring down the -81x, okay? And now you repeat that process just one more time, you guys. So x times y gives you a 0x squared. I will probably put a 0x, right? 0x times x is a 0x squared. -9 is still a 0x. Now you subtract. Your zeros cancel, which is good. And then you have -81 plus 0x. So it's still a -81x. And you bring down that positive 729. They did this deliberately to kind of trick you with a 0 to like see if you can figure that out. But you guys are a smart group of kiddos, so you're not going to get tricked by that. X times -81 gives you a -81x. -9 times a -81. Now we're getting to the big number. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab. Actually, no, it doesn't matter. I can just do it in my head. 81 times 9. 9, and then that's 72. So that's going to give me a positive 729. And then you're going to subtract it. So everything becomes opposite sign and your remainder is just 0. So you're like, okay, what's your answer? Your answer is always going to be the quotient. It's an answer on top, okay? And so for your answer on top says 16x squared minus 81. But then you look at your answer, you're like, dang it, there's none of the answers there. So which one is my answer? The closest one I have here is B, but that's not your answer because that's a plus. The reason why this test is so hard is that you have to know how to factor as well. Do you see how 16 and 81 are perfect squares? So that's going to be a 4x and a 4x. 81 is going to give you a 9, right? Because 9 times 9 is 81. But because there's no numbers in the middle, you guys, it's a plus and a minus. Remember how we did this in this class? So your correct answer has to be A as in apple. And that's why this test is so damn hard, because it's not just can you divide correctly, it's can you divide and factor at the same time. Because if you did the division correctly, but you don't know how to factor, then regardless, your answer is just wrong. You don't get 50% correct, you just get 0. That's why this test is so hard. So you need to make sure you practice with this with me. All right, number 4. Which polynomial is graphed below? Well, that's not going to be too difficult because you can use your graphing calculator to do that, or rather than aimlessly graphing at this, find the zeros first. Do you see how this graph right here is hitting the -1 right there? So there's a -1, and then it's hitting the 0, and then 3. Do you see those 3 points right there? So then which one here says -1, 0, and 3? If I were to put this back into parentheses, it'll be x plus 1 for the -1, x for the 0, and x minus 3 for the +3. So which one does that match? I think D as in dog. Yeah, it matches this one. So that's your answer. Or if you're like, I don't like that way, you could do guess and check, but you will have to graph A, B, C, D, and then match the graph on your calculator to the graph that's given to you. But that'll take a little bit of time. So I'm showing you guys like these little tricks of how you can avoid doing that. Number 5, this is graph below. Use a graph to solve the equation. Well, I don't like that graph and I don't like that equation. Okay, but it doesn't matter what I like. So this is, you're going to use your calculator. So let's, if you're not sure about the question, first thing I suggest doing is maybe go to the answers and see, what is my answer for number 5? And that's totally fine to do. Your answer for number 5 is C as in cat. Okay, so that's what it says. So then let me go back to it. So this is my answer. And I can see why that is the answer, because it does show that this graph does touch this point at 3. But then remember, these two right here are imaginary, so it's not going to show up on your graph. And I kind of forgot how I would have picked that one. Let me try to think here. There was a strategy that we used in class. I kind of forgot about it. But anyways, so you have x cubed, right? So if it's x cubed, what that means is that the cube means you have 3 answers. Okay, 3 answers. So if I look at A, B, C, D, all of them have 3 answers. So I can't cancel any of them. But when I look at the graph, one of the answers have to be 3. That's your first answer. So then A has that, B has that, C has that, but D does not have that. So D is definitely not your answer. So we're just using strategies here. Now the other part here, since it says 3 answers, means that 2 answers are going to be imaginary. Okay. So then if I look at A, these are not imaginary, so it cannot be A, because imaginary means you have to have an I. These 2 are not imaginary, so it can't be B because you have to have an I. These 2 are imaginary because they have an I, so you know your answer is going to be C. And that's how you use your strategy to find this. Okay, number 6. We can go over one more. I think we'll stop at 6. What is the end behavior to this function? And again, if you're like, I'm not sure what the answer is, because right now I'm like, I don't remember. So go back to number 6. Your answer for number 6 is A as in apple. So then I know I need to go back to topic 3, which is the packet that I use for that. So A as in apple, let's go back to the last slide, which is this right here. All right, so let's think about this. As x approaches negative infinity, okay? If that's a negative infinity, think about it. Negative infinity squared, you look at the biggest power, is going to give you a positive, right? If I plug in the negative infinity to the 5th power, it's an odd. Odd is going to give you a negative, right? Even is going to give you a positive. What's a negative times a positive? Isn't that a negative? And guess what? So as x approaches negative, what does it say? It gives you negative. Check. So that's good. Next one. As x approaches a positive, so if it's an even exponent, positive infinity to an even is going to be a positive, right? But then you have to plug it over here. Positive infinity to an odd is also a positive. So what's a positive times a positive? Positive, like a positive 1 times a positive is positive 1. Does that tell you that it's positive here? Yes, it does. So I know my answer is A as in apple. So whenever you have a negative number, you guys, if it's to an even power, like 2, 4, 6, your answer is positive. If it's a negative number and it's to an odd, like 1, 3, 5, it's a negative. And then when you multiply it, a positive times a negative is a negative. Positive times a positive is a positive. Negative times a negative is a positive. So it's just multiplying integers, okay? And you're like, why did you multiply, Callahan? Well, because do you see how the parentheses says the first one times the second one? It's times, so that's why I know. All right, so for number 7, we could probably finish number 7. We're a little bit behind, but that's okay. So as I'm looking at this, I could take out an m because they both have an m. So 3m squared minus 2m minus 5 equals 0. Well, given the fact that I have m is right here, I know one of my answers is just m equals 0. Well, that doesn't help me because they all have 0. So crap, I can't, cancel any of them. So then what I do is I need a factor that's inside this part here. 3 times negative 5 is going to give me a negative 15. My middle number is a negative 2. So what times what gives me a negative 15 with negative numbers? So negative 1, positive 15, positive 1, negative 15, negative 3, positive 5, positive 3, negative 5. Which one of those 4 pairs give me a negative 2 when I add them? The only one that works is this one right there. Do you remember us doing that back like a long time ago? So then my temporary answer is going to be x plus 3, x minus 5. But do you remember how you multiply the 3 with the 5 at the beginning? We'll finish this next time. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.